and welcome to another episode of Monday Mornings with the Smiths. We're so glad that you have joined us. So, last week we started a very important conversation about the S word, that's right, sex. And we talked last week about sex from a man's point of view, but from a woman's perspective. And this week we're going to talk about sex as it relates to females from a man's point of view.
Oh boy.
So that being said, babe, last week I stated that sex is just as important to women as it is to men. Do you agree with that statement?
Oh, most definitely. I agree that sex is as important to women as it is to men. However, the big difference is that sex for a man starts within the bedroom, but sex for a woman starts outside of the bedroom.
Wow. Interesting answer. I definitely want to hear more about this sex outside the bedroom, so please enlighten us.
Well, it is simple, and I need to look at the camera because now I'm talking to men. Men, to a woman, there's something before sex, something called foreplay. And it's not what you're thinking about. But foreplay to a woman means that here it is that she's at work, you are at work. You call her during the day, hey honey, I'm thinking about you. I love the way you made dinner yesterday, and these things. And as the days go, as you go through the day, you call her, you will send her love notes, you send her texts and stuff. Let's say, for example, you get home before her. You give her a call and said, honey, I'm home with the kids before you. Obviously, now I would love to start dinner before you get home. What is it that you would like for me to cook? And so you start the dinner before you get home. That is for playing to your wife. She gets home, she started washing the dishes, you're drying. That is foreplay. Let's say she's doing the laundry, you're folding the laundry. That is foreplay to a woman. So by the time you get to the bedroom, sex will not be a factor.
Wow. Wonderful answer. Wonderful answer. I love it. So let's talk about something else as it relates to sex. Many women are dissatisfied with their sex lives. They find sex boring and they often are not satisfied. What can be done? How can this be addressed by their husbands in the bedroom?
Well, sex becomes boring only whenever one party is being satisfied. Sex is no longer sex if I'm satisfying myself and you're dissatisfied, or vice versa. Sex becomes sex because it's an enjoyable moment. Just as I am satisfying myself, my job is to make sure that you are just as satisfied.
And how do you do that?
On camera?
How does a husband find out what is enjoyable to his wife?
Well, this is where before the actual act comes into play, you talk to your wife, and find out what pleasures her. What is it about sex that she enjoys the most, and so therefore it becomes your job to do that thing.
Okay, very good. And on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is sex really for the success of a marriage?
10.
Of course, you would say a 10. Do you care to expand on that 10?
Well, God made sex for marriage, folks, might I add, and God makes sex for enjoyment in the relationship. Sex is a consummation of the relationship, and if you must be honest with yourself, each time you have enjoyable sex, you will find that the marriage relationship, that bond, becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. And while I'm speaking, I just remember something in regards to a statement I made earlier. So I just want to go back. Earlier on, I said the sex starts outside of the house, outside of the bedroom, sorry. And these are the things that men ought to do, is to help around the house in chores, etc., etc. May I interject here and say that men ought not to do these things because they want sex, but to do these things because it is important in your bondage, in your marriage relationship.
Okay, very good. And You said that on a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 10 in importance. Does the importance of sex change as we get older?
Good question. Um, does not necessarily get changed. And let's talk about older. And being 50 is not old, 60 is not old. But once you start to get into the 70s and the 80s and stuff, 80 years of age, sex is not on the top of the list. Other things becomes more become priority, really. Is to enjoying the relationship, enjoying the bond, reminiscing on the days that you enjoyed yourself and stuff like that. So as you get older, sex should not be erased, but it does not become top priority.
Okay, very good. Well, there you have it, folks. Sex from a man's perspective as it relates to women. And like I said last week, we talked about sex as it relates to men from a woman's perspective. So we hope you enjoyed it. We thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like the video, leave a comment, share it with a friend, go to Amazon and purchase the 5-Star Marriage. Thank you, and we'll see you next week on Monday Mornings with the Smiths.